So, like I was saying, when I got to Barcelona and I just started going out and I met new friends and we were going to like dance clubs, it was just so weird because it's like I kind of broke out of that sensation of insecurity. Like, if you look at the movie, those scenes, like how they have to like rehearse and orchestrate everything from like how they walk through the club, how they have to decide what drink they're going to order, how, like, you see her friend Beth, she's more like comfortable with herself, and when she's comfortable with herself, Deb keeps trying to like make her, restrain her too, because she's already carrying that. Where, Beth was just dancing and she's really just enjoying herself dancing. And that's something that Deb never could do because she's always looking for or thinking about what people are going to think and all of this, because she's self conscious. And I really released a lot of that. And then when I went back to New York after I had my daughter, so mind you, before I skip along, I speak a lot about, even though I released that sensation of like not feeling like beautiful or pretty or like whatever, or being really self conscious, there was still parts of me that had issues with anxiety, because that thing in my mind was, oh my gosh, look, I remember I was like, I'm 26 or I'm 27 and I just want to have kids and blah, blah, blah. And I started like really like hyperventilating sometimes when I would be in public transportation, if I would see a mother and a child and a baby. Like, I felt like someone was stabbing me in my solar plexus. I had to get off the bus. I couldn't breathe. So I was still having like these kind of panic attacks because of that idea that like something wasn't working out the way in my mind I had thought like I wanted it to work out. And then what happened was, that the thing that kind of broke me out of that was, I got pregnant, and I got pregnant with my first pregnancy. I don't know if you can see me well. I got pregnant with my first pregnancy, and I miscarried about like 10 weeks, but they said that the fetus didn't grow more than 7 weeks. And it was like, this guy who I was talking to, whatever. And I was like, oh, I really just want to try again, whatever, whatever. And I had this dream, and in the dream, it showed me like, and I always dream with fish and stuff like that and rice when I'm pregnant. And it showed me like a mudfish trying to bite the back of my heel, and I had to take a knife and stab it in the back of the neck or something for it to get off of me. And I interpreted that dream as, I don't know, in my intuition, something that I should not pursue. Like, I felt like I had just had a miscarriage and I wanted to try again with the same guy. But then I said, you know what? Maybe that dream represents like, maybe you're going to try to force something that is not the moment, is not what God wants. And then maybe something might be wrong with the child and is going to might force you to get an abortion or something like this, which I've never had ever in my life. For me, thank goodness. But that was kind of like what made me say maybe I need to like tone it down, because I was having panic attacks. It was like, like, if it's not working out, if I can't find a guy, if I can't find a guy who likes me, then I just want to be a mom and I just want to have kids. And here I am with a whole load of kids. But anyways, so that definitely, but I'm just telling you where I was psychologically at that point in my life. And then, thanks to, this friend from high school, he put me on Esther Hicks and meditating and all of that. And I just said, I'm going to take it easy. I still have a lot of things that I want to do before I become a mom, because up until that time, I mean, I had only started going to clubs when I came to Spain. I didn't used to go out in New York like that. I was still young. I was living under my mom and she was really strict. So a lot of the things in that movie about that stagnant routine kind of thing, I identified with that sensation. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like being around the same people. That kind of thing, like worrying about what people are going to say. Consider that my mom is that type of person also. She would be like talking about like, oh, like she was like that. She would kind of give that energy, like, being self-conscious of what people are going to say or think. Um, So I started meditating and I started just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna like do everything I want to do and not worrying about having kids. And then I got pregnant by, you know, my daughter's little parasitic demonic dad. But, you know, at least um when it happened finally, like I had had like a whole year after I had miscarried more or less, and I had like, you know, met new people for good or for worse, whatever. That was that matrix trying to steal whatever. And then I had my daughter, and then it kind of like, you know, all, you know, I let go of that. Um, and it's not to say that I had like a lot of bad relationships, because when I came to Spain, I had a couple boyfriends and they were nice and stuff like that, but I was already breaking out of that sensation. I wasn't chasing per se like the way I was in New York already. And before became celibate, I was completely like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm, you know, I have kids, and I just knew that I wasn't gonna be like, I started to see the game clear of how people play these games with me, with the trying to, you know, how men try to make you chase and the hot and cold and all that. And so I wasn't doing that anymore anyways. um so now, in fact, when I see anybody even trying to do that with me, you know, if I'm talking to someone, I see anybody's going hot and cold and doing these like like, I immediately will feel disinterested. In fact, I'll think that you're a parasite, one of these parasitics trying to lure me into those familiar toxic patterns from my past, right? So that's a definite no-no. But yeah, that movie, that resonates so much with me. And okay, so I forgot to say, I remember when I went back after I had my daughter, you know, that was like in 2013. um I remember I met up with my childhood friend, and we were in like Queen Center Mall. We were like shopping, and, you know, I had already been in Barcelona. I felt more free when more like, you know, everything. Like, I remember like I wouldn't wear shorts in New York because I had a little bit of like varicose veins. Like, I had like one or two that like it's not even a big deal. Like, afterwards, if you check my old Facebook, like I did that skeletal, what do you call it, therapy to like, you know, pump out that blood. But like I wouldn't even wear shorts, where when I came to Barcelona, even if I had it, like I started wearing shorts. Like, I didn't care anymore. But for something like that, I would suffer. And when I went back to New York and I was with my daughter and I was with my friend and we were shopping, and like I remember she was shopping for something and she made like a comment, like she didn't want to wear something because of like some tiny little mark. And I was like, "What?" And I was like, and then I remembered, and I was like, "Wow, I remember. Yeah, we were like that. But now I'm not like that." Like, you know, you come to Europe, people were like walking around naked on the beach, like you with all kinds of bodies. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's not that sense of I don't know, like insecurity or self consciousness. So that's when I noticed it. And now when I think about it, that's why I keep saying to you, it helped me a lot when it came to Europe, as far as my like healing a lot of those kind of insecurities and those emotional things. And I feel like that energy is like very stagnant and very heavy in New York. And Lord knows I might have still been like that to some degree had I stayed there. So yeah, just a lot of interesting things. And like I said again, now if you ask me like what are you interested in, like yeah, I would be interested in finding like a twin flame kind of partner, hopefully masculine man, right? Masculine, not a feminine man. but but since it's a little jungle out here in Simlandia, everybody's trying to, you know, distract you and do all sorts of things. And you know how the you know, the energy drain is going on, and you know, through sexual energy you can transfer a lot of things. And you know, no. So for now, while we're on our little, you know, light work mission, quote unquote, you know, I'm just laying a low profile and I just continue to be celibate. But yeah, anyways, check out that movie. Check out that movie because it hits close to home. It really hits close to those like deep wounds that like you forget about. Like, I'm telling you, like I was watching it and I even like feel it in my stomach. And so, you know, I feel bad for the character, but it's because I wasn't as bad as her. Like I said, I wasn't acting crazy like that, but I know how that feels. I empathize with the character in the movie. So it was a really good movie. Check it out. It's on YouTube.